Liza just watched someone with half her experience get the promotion she'd been quietly earning for 3 years. Not because that person was better, because that person was louder. And if you've ever done everything right at work and still gotten passed over, you already know exactly how this feels. Except you probably don't know why it happened, because the reason isn't the one you think. There's this thing that happens to people like Liza. You get good at your job. You show up early. You hit every deadline. You solve problems before anyone even notices they existed. Your manager starts trusting you. Your coworkers start depending on you. And you think this is progress. It isn't. What you've actually done is build a trap. This trap costs years, not money, years. To be clear, being good at your job matters. Liza's mistake, and maybe yours too, is thinking it's the whole strategy. This isn't true in every office, but it's true in most of them. Here's how it works. When Liza became good at her job, she became valuable in a very specific way. She became the person who gets things done, the one who doesn't need to be managed, the one who makes everyone else's life easier. And that sounds like a good thing, but here's what it actually meant. It meant she became expensive to move. They'd pay to keep her. They wouldn't pay the pain to replace her. Because if her manager promoted her, he'd have to replace her. And replacing someone quietly competent is hard. It creates risk. It creates gaps. It creates more work for everyone above her. Her manager didn't avoid promoting Liza because he was cruel. He avoided it because the replacement process was genuinely painful. And if the new hire didn't work out, it would reflect badly on him. So keeping Liza exactly where she was became the safer choice.
There was a woman on her team, Sarah, who Liza noticed always found a reason to be in the room. Strategy meetings she technically had no reason to attend. Conversations one level above her pay grade. At the time, Liza just thought Sarah was ambitious in an obvious sort of way. She didn't think much more of it than that. From Liza's side, this felt confusing. She was doing exactly what they asked. She was delivering results. She was making everyone's life easier. And somehow, that was the problem. So what happened instead was this. They kept her where she was. They gave her more responsibility. They gave her harder problems. They told her she was doing a great job, but they never promoted her. They just made her current job bigger. She became the person who owned the monthly report nobody else understood. The system broke, people came to her, she fixed it. Then she trained the new hire, and now she was also the trainer. Her job quietly became 2 jobs, and none of it was a promotion. She also became the person who handled the difficult client, the one nobody else wanted to deal with. And the more messy accounts she handled without complaint, the more of them landed on her desk. Here's the part nobody warned Liza about. When you're really good at your job, you stop learning. Not because you're lazy, but because you've optimized. She knew the systems. She knew the shortcuts. She knew how to get things done without thinking too hard about them anymore. That efficiency felt like mastery, but it wasn't. It was repetition. She got rewarded for speed, not for range. A year later, she was better at the job she already had, but she still wasn't ready for the job above her.
The skills that made Liza good at her current role were execution skills. Delivery, reliability, process mastery. The skills required one level up were different. Strategy, delegation, managing ambiguity. Her company never trained her for that. They assumed she'd figure it out once she was promoted. But they wouldn't promote her until she'd already demonstrated it, without ever giving her the chance to. This showed up clearly in her performance reviews. She got marked exceeds expectations. She got praised for reliability, but the feedback never once mentioned readiness for the next role, because no one was actually evaluating her for that. And when a spot opened up on the leadership team, they didn't pick Liza. Not ready on paper. Not ready in the story the company told about her. This is the quiet part, the part people don't talk about at the office. Being excellent at your current role can actually block your growth, because it keeps you locked inside that role. And the longer Liza stayed, the harder it got to leave. Because now she was the person who knew everything. She was institutional knowledge. She was the one everyone asked when something broke. That felt like job security. It wasn't. It was inertia dressed up as value. Here's what made it worse. When you're too good at your job, people start to see you as that job. Nobody could imagine Liza doing anything else. Offices label people quickly. Not formally, not in writing, but in the way people talk about you in meetings you're not invited to. She became the spreadsheet person, the reports person, the one who handles escalations. And once that label stuck, it became the only thing people remembered about her. Being the go-to person felt like recognition, and at first it was. But go-to eventually becomes can't do anything else.
This is why people leave companies to grow. Not always because the company's bad, but because the company has already decided who you are. Sometimes the only way to become someone new is to go somewhere no one knows you yet. Which brings her back to Sarah. Sarah wasn't as fast as Liza. She wasn't as detail-oriented. But she talked about her ambitions in every one-on-one. And she made her manager slightly uncomfortable. In the good way. The way that makes someone start planning around you instead of just around your output. Within a year, Sarah was leading a small team. Liza was still fixing the monthly report. It wasn't that Sarah worked harder. It was that Sarah made herself impossible to leave in place. And now Liza understood why she'd always been in those rooms. Now, here's the part that felt unfair. Liza did everything right. She worked hard, she was dependable, she didn't complain. And somehow, that was the problem. She was easy to manage. She didn't create urgency. She never made anyone worry she might leave. Low maintenance isn't a flaw, but it makes you easy to overlook. Her manager saw her work. Her manager's manager did not. And the people 2 levels up were the ones actually deciding her career. Promotion decisions didn't happen in her performance reviews. They happened in succession planning meetings and hallway conversations about who's ready. Conversations she was never in the room for. And in those rooms, the people deciding were working from narrative, not data. They weren't looking at her task completion rate. They were asking, who comes to mind? And since no one was telling her story, she didn't have one. Her silence got misread as satisfaction. Because she never talked about what she wanted, leadership assumed she was happy exactly where she was. And if they thought she was happy, there was no reason to move her. The people who actually got promoted around her were often not the best at the job. They were the ones who made themselves visible. They talked about their work. They built relationships outside their own team. Not bragging, just context. They asked for things. They talked openly about what they wanted. They made it clear they weren't going to stay in the same spot forever. And that made leadership think about them differently. Because now there was a clock, a real risk of losing them. So the day after watching that promotion go to someone else, Liza did something she'd never done before. She asked her manager for 15 minutes, and instead of listing what she'd finished, she said out loud what she actually wanted next. It felt strange, almost like bragging, to describe a version of her job she didn't have yet. But for the first time, someone was hearing it. That conversation didn't fix anything by itself, but it was the first time in 3 years anyone above her had a reason to think about her as anything other than the person who fixes the report. What tends to work is this. Being good at your job is necessary, but it's not sufficient. The people who move forward are also good at talking about their job. They're good at making their goals known. They're willing to become slightly less polished at their current job so they can start learning the next one. Not by slacking off, by reallocating their energy on purpose. Because staying excellent at something that doesn't grow you is just a slower way to get stuck. Competence is not a strategy. It's a baseline. The strategy is what you do after you're competent. Competence gets you in the room. It gets you respect. It gets you stability. It doesn't get you movement. The trap wasn't that Liza was bad at her job. The trap was that she was too good at a job that didn't lead anywhere. You optimize for being good at the job you have instead of being ready for the job you want. And by the time you realize it, you've spent years becoming incredible at something that doesn't move you forward. Not because you failed,
because you succeeded at the wrong level. The comfort of being good at something is real. The recognition feels good. The stability feels safe. But comfort and progress are not the same thing, and most people choose comfort without ever realizing they're choosing it. So here's the question. Are you actually building a career right now, or are you just getting really good at staying still? Tell me where you are in this trap. Are you Liza, or are you Sarah?